In today's video, we're going to create this animated hero section in Figma. So let's get started. Let's start by inserting a frame. So I'm just going to click F and I'm going to select one of the presets. We're going to use the desktop frame. I'm going to reduce the height to 810. Oops, 810. And next we're going to change the fill of our background. So I'm just going to come over here and all these colors as well as our background color, the pink and purple, the text colors, the logo, fonts for the logo, they are all going to be in the description below. This will also include the colors for the other variants we're going to create, the other versions of this um, hero section we're going to create. All of them will be in the description below. So I'm just going to copy our background color like that, and I'm going to come back to our frame and I'm going to change the fill of our frame to this column. Next, let's add the layout guide. So I'm just going to go ahead and insert that. I'm going to change this to columns. Let's make it 12, and the margin is going to be 120, and we have that. Maybe let's make the color to something a bit brighter so we can see it like that. Let me close this and we have our layout. So next what we're going to do is insert a rectangle. So I'm just going to use R and I'm going to click and I have a rectangle. I'm going to change the dimensions of this rectangle. The width is going to be 1370 and the height is going to be 680 like that. And I'm just going to center it here. We're going to change the corner radius to 40. Now let's change the fill. I'm going to go to, let me copy this pink color first. So I'm just going to copy this color, select the rectangle, and I'm going to go to fill and I'm going to select gradient. I'm going to rotate this so that the 0% position is going to be on the left. So I'm just going to click on this button 3 times and now I have the 0% on the left side and I have the 100% on the right side. So at position 0% we're going to put a pink color, and I'm going to go back to this and I'm going to copy the code for this purple color. I'm going to select my rectangle once more. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to, at position 100%, I'm going to add a purple color. Now we have this classic pink and purple gradient color. And next, what I'm going to do, I'm going to insert another rectangle. So I'm just going to use R and I'm going to insert another rectangle. The width of this rectangle will be 1350 and the height is going to be 660. The corner radius is going to be 35 this time. And the fill color, we're going to go to fill and I'm going to, let me just select the desktop. I'm going to copy the code. We're going to use exactly the same fill we're using for the entire frame. And I'm just going to, oops, I'm just going to copy the fill color, select the rectangle, and I'm going to paste that same fill color. And we have this layout to work with. I'm just going to select these two rectangles and I'm going to use Alt H and Alt V to make sure they are centered horizontally and vertically. You can also use this alignment to align them horizontally and vertically. So I'm just going to use Ctrl G to group them. And we have this particular layout. Let's take a moment to look at it in our prototype view. And this is what we have, and this is where we're going to be creating our hero section. Let's go back. Next, let's insert our logo. So let's come over here and let's look at our logo text. The logo is going to be, the font is going to be space Grotesk. weight is going to be bold, the size is going to be 28, and the height is going to be 36. So I'm just going to select this and I'm going to just drag a copy of this into this frame, and I have a copy of the logo text. I'm going to change the fill to white. If we go back to our style guide, the text color, one of them is going to be this pure white color, and that's what we're going to use for this entire top header section. I'm going to select the logo and I'm going to change the text to the name of our imaginary company that we're going to be working on, and it's going to be Neurolytics, like that. And we have our logo. Next, let's create the other part of the hero section. To create the remaining parts of our header, we're going to create a button component. So I'm just going to come outside of the frame and just come to our workspace, and I'm just going to click T, and I'm going to insert a text, and I'm just going to write button. Let's go back to our style guide, and let's look at our button slash navigation bar text. And the typography is Sora, the weight is semi-bold, the size is 14, and the height is going to be 18. So let me go to my button and I'm going to change that. I'm going to change this to Sora. I'm also going to change the weight to semi-bold. The size is going to be 14, and the line height is going to be 18. Let's zoom in. I'm going to create an auto layout over this. We're going to leave the top and bottom padding as it is, but for the left and right padding, we're going to make it 15. The corner radius is going to be 40. I'm just going to rename this frame to button, like that. And let's make this an auto layout. So I'm just going to select the entire frame and use um, Control Alt K. You can also use the button. Let me click out. You can also use the actual button, but I just use the shortcut here. So I'm going to add a variant. For this variant, we're going to add a fill color. So I'm going to click on fill, but this time I'm going to select it to gradient. For the left side, let me zoom out. Okay, before we do that, let's rotate it just like we did with our rectangle. I want 100% to be on the left, and I want 0% to be on the left and 100% to be on the right. So I'm just going to rotate it 3 times till we have that. Let me zoom out, come back to our style guide. I'm going to copy the pink color, and on the button I'm going to this particular frame. Let me select variant 2, go to linear, and I'm going to make the left side pink color just like we did, and for the left we already have our purple color, so I'm just going to select that purple color here, and we have this fill. Let's add another variant. So we're going to create another variant for this particular button. So click this plus icon and we have this button. So for the fill, select that and we're going to change it to solid fill. And this time it's going to be filled with the pink color, and we're going to leave it like that, and we have our button component. Let's go back to our frame. Let me click on our frame so we can start working on it. Let's insert the header, the remaining part of our header section. So I'm going to go to the assets panel, and I'm just going to change this to created in this file. And now we have our button, and I'm just going to insert and insert. I'm just going to drag and drop a copy of our button. Let me go back to our file pin, and there we have that. So I'm going to duplicate this 6 times, so I will have 6 copies. Since we have 6 components, 6 buttons on this particular part of our header. This first one we're going to rename to products. The second one we're going to rename solutions. The third one is going to be pricing. The fourth one is going to be resources, the fifth one is going to be about us, and the final one is going to be contacts, like that. And we have our buttons. What we're going to do next, we're going to select all of these buttons and we're going to make them an auto layout. Let me move this to this side, and I'm going to change the gap to 10. Let me move it till we have it here. And now let's select these two like this. Let me move this one to the edge of our layout first. Select these two, and once again I'm going to create an auto layout. The alignment is currently set to auto, the gap is auto. That's fine. And let's take a moment to look at that. And yeah, we have our current header section. Let's also check the spacing between the top and the bottom. I want it to be 40. I'm just going to move it 2 times down, and I'm holding Alt, and I'm going to check the spacing. The spacing from the top of the rectangle group is going to be 40, and that's fine, and we're done with this current section. Let's start creating our chart. So we're going to start with a rectangle. I'm using R, and I'm going to click, and we have a rectangle. I'm going to change the width to 75, and the height is going to be 480. Let's change the corner radius for the top. So I'm just going to open the corner radius, and for the top left corner it's going to be 25, and the top right corner is going to be 25. Now let's go to our fill and change the fill of our rectangle. So click on this, let's change it to gradient. I'm going to add another position by just clicking on our chart, and I'm going to change this to 20. I'm going to rotate this again. I want to have 0% at the bottom and 100% at the top, and I'm just going to do that, and we have this. At the 0% position, let's click on this, and we'll just use our pink color on this page. And for the second position, we're going to use the pink color again, and for the 100% position, we're going to use the purple color. But we're going to change one more detail. For the 0% position, change the opacity to 0%, and I'm going to close it, and we have this bar for our chart. So I'm going to select this. I'm holding Shift and Alt, and I'm going to create a copy, and I'm just going to create 1, 2, 3, 4, oops, and one more, 5. So I have 6 bars, and we have all this rectangle. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's rename these bars. I'm going to rename this bar 1. So I'm renaming them left to right. Let's rename this bar 2. This one is going to be bar 3. This is going to be bar 4, bar 5, and of course the final one is going to be bar 6. This is going to make it easier for us to change, so you can understand which bars have what length at what variant. We'll do that, don't worry, we're going to do that together. I'm going to select all of them, and let me change the spacing between them to 10. So before we group them, let's change their height. I'm not going to use a panel here. I want to change the height from the top. So let's bring in this bar. This is just a screenshot from what's the name of this software? I can't remember. I believe it's Excel. It's just a screenshot. So these are the bar length. So for bar 1, we have 320. I'm going to use this handle. I'm going to keep my eyes here, but I'm going to use this handle to change the height. I'm going to make this 360, I believe. No. Okay, the first one is 320. So The first, let's reduce it to 320. The next one is 360, and I'm just going to reduce that. Let me go back and look at the next one. We have 480 and 420. This bar is already 480. Let's make this one 420. And 5 and 6 is 440 and 300, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reduce this 440 and 300. So let's change that to 440, and the final bar is going to be 300, like that. So we have our bars. We're going to take this out. We don't need this for now. We'll need it later. So I'm going to select all of them like this. Spacing is 10. Everything is aligned, and I'm going to group them. Now let me select the header section, select this chart, and the spacing I want is 50. And we have this. Let's look at it in the prototype, and yeah, we have our bar, and we're done with this bar section. Let's start creating our text area. So for the heading, this is the heading. We have space Grotesk is the font, the weight is regular, size is 54, line height is 68, and for the body, the text is enter, weight is regular, size is 24, and the line height is 30. So I'm just going to select this two, and I'm just going to create a copy and bring it in. For the heading, we're going to use this text color 2. I'm going to copy the code, and I'm going to select our heading text, and I'm going to change the fill color to our second text color. And for text color 3, this is going to be the code. I'm just going to copy that, and I'm going to change the fill color of this to this color. Let me move this down to give ourselves more space to work with. So I'm just going to open my notepad, and this is the text we're going to use. It's not that much. So I'm going to copy this, and this is going to be our heading, and I'm going to paste that here. I'm going to change the length of our text to 600, and the width is going to be 610, and I'm just going to move this in. Let me go ahead and copy the text for our body or our tagline, just this short intro, and I'm going to paste that here. Once again, I'm going to change the width to 610, and we have this. Next, I'm going to go to assets. I'm going to grab an instance of the button, and I'm going to place it here. This is going to be get started, and I'm going to paste that here. For the next button, we are going to create an auto layout. So first, let's check the text. We're still going to use Sora semi-bold size 14, just like we did for the button. So I'm just going to click on text, and I'm just going to write, and it's already set to that for me. You can change it as you want, and I'll just write book a demo here. Now I'm going to make this an auto layout. Top and bottom padding is 10. We're going to make the left and right padding 15. The corner radius is going to be 40, and let's add a fill. We're going to make it gradient. The 0% position is going to be pink, and the 100% position is going to be purple. Let me close that, and the text color is white. I'm going to select these two. Oops. Select this button and this particular. Let me check my. I hope it's in. Oh, it's in the group. Sorry. I'm just going to remove this and put it outside the group. That's why I was having issues selecting it. I'm going to select this and select this two. And I'm going to make it an auto layout, and I'm going to make the gap 10. Select the three of these items and make all of them an auto layout. The gap is currently set to 20. That's fine. And the width for the entire thing, I want it's supposed to be 600, and I'm going to make this width 610. This is going to be 610, and I'm going to select the entire layout, and I'm going to make it hog content. Now I'm just going to, let's go back, select this entire thing, select the header, and the spacing is going to be 135, 135, and I'm going to move this so that it's aligned to the right side of our columns, and the spacing between this bar and this text is going to be 90. So let's take a moment to look at it in our prototype, and this is what we have. Now we can move on to animating this bar and animating the background. So first, what we're going to do, I'm going to select this group that has these two rectangles, and I'm going to select the bottom rectangle. And what I'm going to do is just rename this background so I will know which one we are working with. And I'm just going to select that, and I'm going to hold Alt down, and I'm going to create a copy, and I'm going to bring it out of our frame. I want to animate a separate one so that we don't interfere with our design. So let's bring this here. Now I'm going to make this rectangle and a component. So Control Alt key, and we have this component called background. So let's create a variant. Select the rectangle, double click, and then click on the rectangle. Go to the fill, and then just rotate once. That's it. Let's select this same rectangle. Just select the variance group, create a variance of the second rectangle. Once again, double click on it. Make sure you are selected on the rectangle. Go to the fill, and then rotate once again. Let's close this. Select variant 3, create one more variant. Select the rectangle once more, and go to the fill and rotate once more. And now we have four variants of our rectangle. All of them have different orientations of our gradients. So let's go ahead and animate this. So what we're going to do is select the entire thing, and let's go to prototype. Let me scroll, let me get closer. Select the first variant and connect it to the second one. Trigger is going to be after delay. Delay is going to be 1 millisecond. Animation is going to be smart animate. Is going to be, the curve is going to be linear, and the speed is going to be, the duration is going to be 1500 milliseconds. And that's the setting was we're going to use. Come to the second variant, connect it to the third one, and it's going to be after delay. All settings are already set to linear, smart animate. That's fine. Let's go to the third one, and we'll connect it to variant 4, and it's going to be after delay 1 millisecond. Let me make sure, did I check the duration for this one? Okay, set to 1 millisecond. After delay is going to be set to 1 millisecond. Then finally, what we're going to do is connect this fourth variant back to the first one. So I'm going to drag this, and I'm going to connect it to the first one, and the delay is going to be, the trigger is going to be after delay, the duration is going to be 1 millisecond, animation is going to be smart animate, curve is linear, duration is 1500 milliseconds. Before we add this background to our design, let's see whether it's working fine. So I'm just going to select frame and I'm going to insert a desktop wireframe. I'm going to change the fill to something dark, really dark. And let me go to our assets, and now we have this background, and I'm going to add it to this desktop. Let me make sure it's in the desktop. Yeah, it's in desktop too. So let's go to our prototyping and let's see the animation if to load. And yeah, this is what we have, and this is the animation that will be happening in the background, but it's only going to be the sliver that we have in our design. You can just look at these settings, and if you want to use it any of your designs, you can use it in your designs. Let me close this. We don't need this. I'm just going to delete this. So let me go to my assets. You can just create a copy directly from the file, but I'm just going to come here and bring this in. So what I'm going to do is I have this rectangle, Control X to cut. Now I'm going to select this desktop and I'm going to go to the group, which is currently group 1, that has our two rectangles, and I'm going to select background, Control Shift R, and I've replaced that rectangle in our design with the rectangle I just cut. Now let me go back to our chart, and you can see that there is this really smooth animation going on at the edge of our design. Let's go back to our workspace, and now we can animate the charts. So what we're going to do is, let me zoom out a bit. Once again, I'm going to create a copy of this. Okay, before I do that, let me rename this to chart so we can locate it in our assets panel. I'm going to select this and once again hold Alt and create a copy. So now let's create our chart component. I'm going to use Control Shift and K to create the component. So once again, let me bring this. We're going to need this about here. So we're currently in the default, which is currently shown as V1, and the length for V1 match up to the bars. If you want to try this yourself, you can go ahead and try it, but don't worry, I'm going to do it so we can do it together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variant, and we're going to change for V2 bar 1, which is this one, is going to be, let me bring it, oh, let me just bring it down here so it makes it easier to see. So we're currently working on the, although it's saying V1, we're actually working on V2. So that's the second version. And what we're going to do is increase, and once again, I'm increasing it from the top. I'm not using this dialog because it's going to reduce it from the bottom, but I want to increase it from the top. And we're going to increase the height of this one to 400. This one is going to be 300. The next one is going to be 440, like, let me 440, like that. Next is going to be 480. Next is going to be 320. Let me just get that, 320, and the final one is going to be 360. Let me get closer to make it easier. 360, and we have our second version like this, which is currently V2. If you want to do it by yourself, you can go ahead and skip this part, but if you are feeling a bit, you don't want to do it by yourself, then we can do it together. I'm just going to go ahead and work on the second one. So click on this second chart we've created, click on V2, and we're going to create another variant. And now we're going to change the bar height for version 3, that is currently variant 3, and we're going to change their height. So let's click on this. We're going to change the height for bar 1 to 480. For bar 2 is going to be 420. Let me get closer. Going to make it 420. The third is going to be 360. Let me reduce this to 360. The fourth is going to be 300. Let me reduce this down to, it's giving me a bit. Let me reduce this to 300. Next, we're looking at bar 5. Bar 5 is going to be 480, and the final bar is going to be 340. Let me just get closer and reduce it by 1. So we're currently working on variant 3, and this is V3. Finally, let's work on the final variant. Select V3 and let's create another copy, and now we can now work on the variant, the fourth variant. So the first bar for the first variant is going to be 360. The second bar is going to be 480. Third one is going to be 300. The fourth one is going to be 400. The fifth one is going to be 380. Like, let me get closer. Just add one more, 380, and the fourth one is going to be 420. Let me get closer. 420. And yeah, we have this. Let me zoom out so that I can move this out of the way and back to its former position. Now we can now add some, we can now go to prototype to animate this chart. So let's go to our prototype and let's open the prototype. The setting is going to be the same as our background, so I'm just going to connect the default to variant 2, and it's going to be after delay. The delay is going to be 1 millisecond. Animation is smart animate, curve is linear, duration is 1500 milliseconds, and that's going to be the same settings we're going to use for all of them. Once again, let's change our trigger and our delay. Let me move on to the next one and connect variant 3 to variant 4, and the trigger is going to be after delay is going to be 1 millisecond, and everything stays the same. And now we're going to connect variant 4 to the default of variant 1. So I'm just going to copy drag that and connect that, and I'm going to change the trigger to after delay is going to be 1 millisecond. Now let's insert the chart and replace it with the one here to see our animation. Let me go back to our assets. Now we have this chart. I'm going to insert it once again. That's what I like to do. Control X, select the charts. Let me go back to our file so that we can see why the chart is selected. Control Shift and R to replace it. Now let's see our animation, and I'm just going to click R to restart it. And yeah, this is what we have. We have our animated chart. If you want the chart to move even slower, you can increase the duration, but we have our animated chart. Now the final thing is to animate our buttons or to create the prototype proper. So I'm going to select this button and I'm going to connect it to this one, and it's going to be, this is going to be while hovering, it's going to change. So it's going to be smart animate, but the curve is going to be ease in and out, and the duration is going to be 400 millisecond. And the second one is going to, let's connect this to this, and we're going to make this while pressing smart animate is in and out 400 milliseconds. Let's go back to our animation, and now we can see that we have our buttons, and I made them very soft and very slow. This one we don't I'm not adding any animation because I just wanted to show what the buttons look like when they are filled in, but you can make it faster or slower as you feel. But yeah, we are done with this chart, and I'll just show you the other variants. Alright, now that we're done creating our chart, I just went ahead and created some other color variations. For the colors, they will be in the description below. I'm going to indicate for background, that's the rectangle, and for charts being, of course, this. And I'm going to indicate what positions, and for the positions, I'm going to indicate the colors. Every other thing remains the same. So let me just show you. This one, I just named blue. So we have this nice blue green gradient. This one I just named green. It's more yellow and green. And finally we have this red one, which is a combination of orange and red. So let's look at it in the prototype view. So first we have our first version, and just clicking on the buttons, and we have everything here. Let's go to the next one, which is the blue and green version, and we have this here, the colors, and this is the buttons. For this one I use blue as the fill color, and you can see it's really slow. If you want it faster, but I really like this really slow transition like this, so you can increase the speed of it if you feel like it's too slow. And yeah, and let's go to the next one. We have this neon green and yellow combination, and we have this one. The text isn't that clear, so you can change the text to something much darker so it's become more clearer, but I wanted to leave everything the same. And finally we have our red and orange version. Honestly, I kind of like this one. I don't know which one I like more, this or the pink and blue one, pink and purple one. But anyway, that's it. We are done with this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.